Creepy crawly things. Snakes are strange and beautiful creatures. These snakes are cobras. They are very poisonous, but most snakes are harmless and cannot hurt you. The gecko, with big round eyes, is a harmless lizard. It can race up a wall and even across a ceiling. Lizards and snakes are reptiles. Reptiles have bodies covered with small, hard scales. Alligators, crocodiles, and turtles are reptiles too. A newt is a salamander that lives most of its life in the water. A newt hatches from eggs laid in wet places, just like other salamanders. Newts and salamanders then leave the water to live on land, but after a while, the newt goes back to the water. A tiny frog sits on the tip of a man's finger. A frog usually starts its life in the water. Then it lives mostly on land. Frogs, toads, and salamanders are amphibians. Amphibians spend part of their lives in water and part on land. A newt peeps over a plant in a pond. Can you find the newt reflected in the water? Most salamanders live on land in cool, moist places. They hide under rocks, logs, or piles of leaves. They come out at night or on rainy days to hunt for insects and worms. Perhaps there is a salamander hiding near your house. A baby salamander has gills near its head. They look like little feathers. The gills let the salamander breathe water, just as fishes do. As salamanders grow up, most of them lose their gills. They climb out of the water. Then they breathe air with lungs, just as people do. Some live in damp woodlands where mushrooms grow. Frogs have smooth, wet skin. Toads have skin that is dry and bumpy. A tree frog has round pads on the tips of its toes. The pads help it climb a tree or hold onto a twig. Frogs have strong hind legs and are very good jumpers. Toads are fatter than frogs. They cannot jump as well as frogs. They just hop, hop, hop along. In the springtime, a male toad hops to the nearest pond and begins to sing. His throat puffs out like a balloon. He sings a song to call a female toad. Soon the female comes to the pond and mates with the male. The female toad lays a long string of eggs in the water. The eggs look like black beads. Clear jelly covers the eggs and protects them. Frogs lay their eggs in water too. These eggs are in bunches like grapes. After a few days, there is a tadpole in the middle of each round egg. The tadpole has gills and a tail. When the egg hatches, the tadpole wiggles around in the water. Do you live near a pond or creek? If you look carefully, you may find tadpoles there. As the tadpole gets bigger, skin grows over the gills. The hind legs grow first. Then the front legs grow too. Its long tail gets shorter and shorter. Soon the tadpole will have no tail at all. Then it will be a frog. Alligators catch fish in their big jaws. These reptiles spend most of their lives in the water. The mother alligator leaves the water to lay her eggs. She builds a big nest of plants and mud. Then she lays her eggs in the nest and stays nearby until they hatch. All turtles hatch from eggs. As soon as sea turtles hatch, they hurry down the beach to their home in the sea. Sea turtles hardly ever leave the water again, but the mother turtle comes out of the water to lay her eggs on the beach. Then the mother turtle slowly crawls back to the sea. Many lizards have long tails. If an enemy grabs one of these lizards, the tail snaps off. Then the lizard runs away. Later it grows a new tail. The flying lizard spreads flaps of skin that look like wings. When this lizard jumps from tree to tree, it glides through the air. The tree lizard has long, thin toes that help it to climb branches. The Gila monster is a lizard too. It is the only poisonous lizard in the United States. African chameleons are lizards that can change their colors. Some chameleons have horns and look like little dinosaurs. Skin covers their big pop eyes, but they can see through peepholes. Each eye moves by itself. One eye can look to the front while the other eye rolls around to look at the side or back. A chameleon has a very long tongue. It may be longer than the whole body. When an insect comes near, the chameleon shoots out its tongue. It has a sticky pad at the tip. The insect sticks to the tip, and before you can say chameleon, the insect is eaten up. The marine iguana creeps along the bottom of the sea. This lizard dives for seaweeds to eat. These iguanas sun themselves on the rocky beaches where they live. The Komodo dragon is the world's largest lizard. The big one is longer than your bed. This giant lizard uses its claws to hold wild pigs and other animals it eats. Some snakes have scales in bright colors and are very easy to see. Others are hard to see because they match the ground or trees where they live. As snakes grow, they get too big for their skins. The skin doesn't stretch, so the snake wiggles out of its old skin and leaves it behind. A snake uses its tongue to help it smell. When the tongue moves in and out, the snake can tell if other animals are near. A rattlesnake has rattles on the end of its tail. It shakes the rattle to warn enemies to keep away. The snakes on these 2 pages are very poisonous. Only poisonous snakes have fangs. The fangs are sharp, hollow teeth. When the snake bites, the fangs fill with poison. The poison kills mice, lizards, and frogs and other small animals a snake eats. The poison can kill people too. Most snakes are not poisonous. When the red and yellow corn snake catches its dinner, it will coil around the animal and squeeze it to death. Many snakes help farmers by catching rats and mice that eat crops. The rough green snake helps farmers by eating insects. Even the tiny red-bellied snake helps man by eating insects. Reptiles and amphibians can be as small as a pencil. Others are very large. These creepy, crawly things can be strange, and they can be very beautiful. They are all part of the world of nature.